The air at Incheon Airport was buzzing with the usual activity, people rushing from one gate to the other, the sound of rolling luggage wheels echoing in the background. It was a scene familiar to anyone who has ever been to an international airport. But this time, something was different. Among the sea of travelers, one figure stood out. Jimin, with his signature charm, was walking slowly, his eyes fixed on the ground, seemingly lost in thought. He wasn't the usual bright and bubbly Jimin that ARMY knew and loved. His usually energetic steps were heavy, and there was a weight in his expression that seemed impossible to ignore. It wasn't the rush of the crowd or the flashing cameras around him that had his attention. No, it was something much deeper, something that could only be seen by those who truly understood him. Jimin was carrying something inside, something too heavy to bear alone. The fans who had gathered, some lucky enough to get a glimpse of the global star, could feel that something was wrong, but no one could have predicted what was about to happen next. Then, as if on cue, a figure appeared by his side. Jungkook, the golden magne always by Jimin's side, was there just a few steps behind. He had been watching his Hyung, and it didn't take long for him to notice the subtle change in Jimin's demeanor. He could see it in the way Jimin walked, in the slump of his shoulders, in the way his face looked far away like he was trying to hide his pain. Jungkook, always the sensitive one when it came to his Hyungs, knew something was wrong. He quickened his pace and reached out, tapping Jimin on the shoulder. Jimin, still lost in thought, turned around, his eyes meeting Jungkook's. And that's when it happened. Jimin's eyes, which had been clouded with a mixture of emotions, finally broke. The tears began to well up, and before he could even say a word, they started to fall. Jimin, so strong and confident in front of millions, now stood in front of his fellow member, vulnerable and exposed. His body trembled with the force of the emotions that he had been bottling up for so long. It was a moment that no one had expected. The tears, the vulnerability, the rawness of the emotion that came crashing down, it was all too much. And in that moment, as Jimin broke down, Jungkook's instincts kicked in. He stepped forward without hesitation and pulled Jimin into his arms. The crowd, witnessing this unexpected moment of tenderness, went silent. It wasn't the usual excitement that filled the air during a BTS appearance. Instead, there was a heavy silence, a silence that spoke of understanding, compassion, and love. ARMYs who had gathered around could feel the weight of the moment, their hearts aching as they watched Jimin's tears soak into Jungkook's shoulder. Jungkook didn't say anything. There was no need for words. He simply held Jimin tightly, offering him a silent support that spoke louder than anything he could have said. It was the kind of gesture that ARMYs had seen before, but never quite like this. Jungkook, always so composed and cheerful, had never been this serious in public before. But now, his only focus was Jimin, his brother, his best friend, who was hurting. Jimin continued to cry, his sobs quiet but heartbreaking. The weight of everything he had been through in the past months seemed to come pouring out all at once. It wasn't just the pressures of fame, the constant touring, or the weight of being in the public eye. No, this was something deeper, something personal. And in Jungkook's arms, he found a moment of peace, a moment where he could let it all go. ARMYs around the world who were watching from the safety of their screens could feel the emotional impact of the scene. The video of the two, standing in the middle of the airport with Jungkook holding Jimin in his arms, quickly spread like wildfire across social media. It wasn't just a moment of sadness, it was a moment of profound connection. It was a reminder that even the strongest people, the ones who are always there for others, sometimes need someone to lean on. And in that moment, Jungkook was that person for Jimin. As the camera captured the scene, it felt as though time had slowed down. The world around them continued to move, but the two of them seemed to be in their own world, where nothing else mattered but the unspoken bond between them. And as Jimin's tears slowly began to subside, he pulled away just slightly, looking up at Jungkook with red, swollen eyes. Jungkook smiled softly, brushing a tear away from Jimin's cheek. The smile wasn't full of joy, but it was full of understanding. He didn't need to say anything. His actions spoke louder than any words could. Jungkook was there. He was present, offering Jimin the one thing he needed the most in that moment: unconditional support. Jimin, still visibly shaken, took a deep breath and nodded. There was no need for more words. The bond they shared was strong enough that no amount of pain could break it. They had been through so much together, and they would continue to face everything life threw at them, side by side. As Jimin wiped his tears and straightened himself up, he glanced at Jungkook. There was no need for any grand speech. The two of them exchanged a look that said everything. They didn't need to explain what had just happened, they both understood. And with that, the two of them began to walk away, their arms brushing against each other as they moved through the airport. The moment of sadness had passed, but the strength of their bond remained. Jimin may have broken down in that moment, but in Jungkook's arms, he found the strength to stand again. And it was a powerful reminder to everyone watching that even in our darkest times, there is always someone we can lean on. But the story didn't end there. As the two walked through the airport, armies around the world were left reflecting on what they had just witnessed. It wasn't just a moment between two idols. It was a moment that spoke to the heart of what it means to be human. It reminded everyone that it's okay to not be okay sometimes. That it's okay to let down your guard and allow someone in. That even the strongest need help. And as they walked through the bustling terminal, hand in hand, side by side, they carried with them something far more important than fame, money, or success. They carried with them love, love that would last forever no matter what came next. As Jimin and Jungkook walked away, their bond stronger than ever, it was a moment that reminded us all about the power of support, friendship, and love. It wasn't just about the tears, it was about being there for each other when it matters most, showing that even the strongest people need someone to lean on. If this emotional moment touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and share this video with your friends who need to see the strength of true friendship and the unconditional love between Jimin and Jungkook. Subscribe for more emotional BTS moments and exclusive behind-the-scenes content that shows the real, unfiltered side of our favorite idols. Make sure to turn on notifications so you never miss a story that reminds us all of the deep connections we share, not just with our idols but with the people who care about us. Remember, you're never alone. Whether you're struggling or standing strong, there will always be someone to support you, just like Jimin and Jungkook.